So I've been trying to figure out for the past couple minutes how to exactly start this video, and honestly, I'm just going to come out and say it. The Falcox Flight 1 beta firmware is flying better than my Betaflight 4.0 tune that I worked on for weeks, dozens and dozens of packs. Right after flashing it, right out of the box, with nearly all of the custom preset tunes that are built into the configurator. I have no allegiance or fanboyism or anything like that. I'm just a small guy in this big world of FPV trying to help out people as much as I can and trying to have as much fun with my builds and my equipment that I can as well. So I originally built this Source One here that you've seen in tons of my videos. You know, there's really nothing premium about it except for the Flight 1 electronics themselves, the Sandbrook motors, you know, it's the TBS Source 1 frame, you know, nothing super fancy, but the quad itself has an excellent noise profile and it just has good geometry, everything else flies really good. So when I first got it, I built it up, flashed Flight 1 on there, tried Flight 1 out for a couple weeks, and honestly, I did have a lot of issues. I got it to fly okay, but it took a little bit of work, and I could never really figure out how to set like the filtering correctly and everything like that. There's so much information and misinformation out there over all the years of the different Flight 1 builds. I knew Falcox was coming, and it sounded great. But Flight 1 doesn't have the best track record of meeting deadlines and time schedules. So I figured I'm going to put Betaflight on this and at least I can black box it and work with people and try to figure out and get this flying. And I did. I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed it just as recently as Saturday. But then Saturday night, I saw that Falcox went public beta. I saw that they had added some things like the OSD, small little things that were missing before. And I'm like, all right, it's time to try it out, because you see these videos, they all look great, and you're like, okay, they all have that Flight 1 look, because it has kind of a look to it. If you've tried it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you know, I guess you got to take my word for it. So we're going to talk about Falcox here and my first experiences with it, a few quick tips, and I'll show you guys some video of the different tunes that I've been running. The video is nothing spectacular because it was raining and cloudy all day yesterday, but you are going to see that it is very good, very smooth. The way that I just fly the quad is completely different than how I normally fly, because it just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. So let's get on with the rest of the video here. So if you're interested in trying Flight 1 products, keep in mind that you need to use the Revolt OSD to use Falcox. You can use that with any ESC really that you might have now. The Acon 32s, the Hobby Wings, those are all pretty popular ESCs. So don't think that you need to go out and buy like a Bolt 32, because you're not going to find it because they have a new ESC coming out. So just keep that in mind. So if you do want to try this out, you're looking at like a $40, $45 investment on a new flight controller, which if you don't like it, you can always put Betaflight on it, and Betaflight 4 runs spectacular as well. It's really great hardware. So if you're running Flight 1 now and you don't like betas and everything like that, but you want to give it a shot, you're just whatever, you're on the fence, you're new, a couple things to remember real quick. Make sure everything, obviously, that your ship is just like airworthy and it's working really good, just to eliminate any issues. If you're running CROSSFIRE, make sure you only have the TX1 hooked up. Don't hook up RX3 telemetry. Nobody uses it anyway. You're going to get your RSSI and your link quality, so it's like, why even bother? For some reason, it actually causes some kind of conflicts the way the hardware is designed with the Revolt, but it's not even built into Falcox beta yet anyway. The other thing before you flash Falco, you have a Flight 1 board or you buy one and it has something flashed on it already, go into the regular configurator, go into the Clean Flight, and go into BL Heli 32 and set up your BL Heli 32 settings. Everything is pretty much stock, except in the Betaflight world, we usually set PWM speed at 48 kilohertz or whatever. I think everybody's just kind of did that, and the BL Heli guys actually said that that was recommended as well. There's always been this theory that you want to run your PWM frequency at the same speed as your PID loop. So since Flight 1 runs at 32K, we set that to 32. So demand compensation, it comes low as the default. I just leave it there. I've seen on the Discord server that some people are saying, like, if you race, maybe turn it off, back and forth. You might want to check into that before you actually flash. If you watch this, you know, in a couple weeks or a month or something down the road, just to be 100% sure where the community is kind of steering everything. Right now, I have mine set to low, which is the default, and it's been working great. The other thing is motor timing. It comes out of the box in BL Heli at 16, and a lot of the Flight 1 guys are running it at 23 or 26. I'm running at 26 right now, and everything is smooth and sounds, the motors and everything just sound great. So I'm going to stick with 26. I might change at some time in the future, again, if we see that people are kind of like changing in the community and kind of steering things. Preston's supposed to bring out some videos about this eventually. So besides the BL Heli 32 settings, and that's pretty much all that like has tripped me up. Make sure that like your ESCs are calibrated for multi-shot, because there is profiles built into the Falco X that will run strictly for multi-shot, which still is optimized for Flight 1, even though they're quickly moving into the 3200 and D-Shot 32 space, which is what I've been using mostly. And a lot of the ESCs that I mentioned before seem to be able to take advantage of it. So that's kind of all the little tips that I have since actually doing this. And now we're just going to get onto the flight footage, and I will talk you guys through what tunes that I have tried, and you can take a look at them for yourself and see how they are looking. So let's check them out. So the first tune we're going to look at here is the default 6S tune. There's like 5 or 6 tunes built into here, maybe a few more, can't remember. You just select them like the old school Immersion RC Vortex days, those kind of things where it sets your PIDs, filters, TPA, all that stuff. The only thing you need to do is your rates. There's no custom or preset default rate values yet, but I'm sure those are coming. The 6S tune flew pretty good. There was a little bit of, I guess I could say, over-tuning or over-filtering at certain throttle percentages. So it was just at the very end, and, you know, this was the very first flight, literally, that I had on Falco. So the rolls and stuff like that get a lot snappier towards the end. I'll show you once I get more comfortable with the other tune I was flying here. But I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of generally how good this looks. I mean, you know, a punch out, no oscillations, plenty of control. It's definitely a great start, and I was surprised, very surprised. So the next tune I jumped to was the Schizo tune, and immediately I could feel the inner Schizo channeling inside of me. The tune and just the aircraft just felt super flowy and just really nice and smooth. I was playing back and forth between multi-shot and the D-Shot 32 protocols, playing with my rates and everything like that. This might have been like my 6th or 7th battery, but man, just the feeling and just the way that the video looks and everything like that. I mean, it's so funny because you get so picky when you start flying Flight 1. I don't know why I am so picky or overcritical about it, but that last 5% that we're always fighting for in our tunes, that little bit of prop wash, that little bit of oscillation, well, that gets narrowed to like that last 1 to 2% with Flight 1, especially with this Falco firmware. I mean, I can fly this ship in ways that the Betaflight stuff just can't do without inducing a lot of problems, even still today. And I guess it comes down to the fact that this stuff is like totally streamlined, cleaned up, worked from the ground up now. You know, there's only one way to hook up a receiver to this. There's only one port. You don't have to worry about like 20 different UARTs on 100 different targets. And you know, Betaflight devs are even starting to get that now by going with the whole unified target thing, and hopefully pushing that back onto like people who buy these, you know, cloner boards or whatever. So anyway, just see how much different I was flying. I was just having a great time, man, going back and forth between all these. The fact that they were actually working and nothing was going to the moon and it just wasn't oscillating and prop wash everywhere, it was just great. So let's take a look at the next one here. So this is the Blackbird Tune, which is very popular in FLIGHT1. Really high P's, really low D's, like whisper mode, all that stuff is just turned on. This is the one running the multi-shot protocol. So I've kind of settled on Blackbird. I just can't decide on whether I like multi-shot or the D-Shot 32 better. But it's super smooth, just very quiet. Even the Johnny FPV props are very smooth, but they're a little noisy. They're like a low grunty noisy, not a high pitched noisy, kind of like the Ethics S3 props. But that move, just look at that right there. That is like prop wash city. Like, I would love to try to do that in one of my other Betaflight 4.0 builds that I have tuned up to see exactly how it would handle that kind of situation right there. It would not be good. It would be fluttering around, even after spending lots of time tuning it and everything. And now here's the Blackbird Tune running on D-Shot 32. Now, the one thing I did notice when I went to D-Shot 32 from multi-shot is I did notice an increase in overall like speed or feel. Kind of hard to explain, so I had to start working on my rates again a little bit. And this was kind of the last pack of the day that I flew, just because I was content because things were just flying so well. And again, you can see that it's just kind of, you know, whatever. I mean, you can just kind of fly the quad so aggressive, point it wherever you want. I'm not talking like aggressive fast and power and diving buildings. I mean, you can do all that stuff if you wanted to, but just these, you know, sharp maneuvers and everything. I mean, look how crisp like all the end of those rolls are. And if you watch my videos, you know I'm not like Mr. Super Flyer, you know, like the ends of my rolls and flips and stuff are pretty bad. I mean, there's some bad ones in these videos I've been watching them, but since I'm always messing around with stuff, I never like take time to like practice flying. I'm always like kind of trying to test things and do this and stuff, which I know helps you guys and it helps me too, but you know, it's a lot different when you're just out like kind of flying for fun like this, which is kind of what I was doing at this point in the day. So that's pretty much going to do it. I'll let the flight play out here for you guys if you want to take a look at the rest of it and listen to the motor sounds and everything like that. But I'm super happy and super impressed with this. Hopefully they just keep on this course with the beta builds and things don't get broken and changed and everything like that. I know that can kind of happen as they start getting firmware happy, trying to implement certain fixes and stuff, but I have a feeling that these guys are going to handle this really good. The support system that they've put in place already has been doing really good, so I hate to make comparisons, but this definitely isn't what I went through with Helio, and I was part of the test people with them and tested a lot of stuff, and it was like a new firmware like sometimes 2 or 3 a day, and there was a lot of moonshots, let me tell you. So anyway guys, Talk to you later.